Hi, this is Clint Stonebreaker, Executive Director of the Insight Program. And today we're going to talk about early recovery from addiction or alcoholism for young people. When someone has a drug or an alcohol problem, all major areas of their life have been affected: physical, emotional, and spiritual. When too much emphasis is placed on one area above another, the problem is that the other areas are still in crisis, they're not being addressed. Think about it this way: when someone approaches addiction recovery by just changing their diet or getting healthier, that may all be fine and good, but emotionally they're still filled with angst, and spiritually they're still left feeling unfulfilled. Other times people try to approach recovery by going to therapy to deal with the emotional part of it. Again, that's okay, but the problem is by figuring out all of the reasons why someone may have a drug or an alcohol problem, which, by the way, therapy won't do that, but even if they did, that doesn't provide the motivation to stop using. If knowing why it was a problem was the primary motivator for someone to get sober, then most people would get sober a lot earlier than they actually do. Most people that have a drug or alcohol problem can probably give you a pretty detailed explanation as to some of the root causes of their problem. When too much emphasis is placed on only the spiritual part of it, again, that may be great and that provides a good feeling in the beginning. But if that doesn't transfer into dealing with the emotional sides of the drug and alcohol problem or the physical sides, eventually that person's going to go back to using. What people a lot of times forget is that an addict or an alcoholic, whatever their motivation behind getting into the problem to begin with was, remain locked into that way of living because they, at least in their own minds, are in complete control over how they feel. When someone gets sober, it creates a tremendous void in their life, and whatever that void is has to be filled with something better. The 12-step approach is the best approach that I'm aware of because it's the one way that addresses all three major areas. Again, the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual. All of the tools that are involved in 12-step recovery lead a person to both take responsibility for their problem. Abstinence provides a roadmap for a lot of the physical recovery. Shows them how to go about the business of repairing both the defects of character in their life and healing the relationships that have been broken. And also provides a basic understanding of the importance of having a relationship with a higher power. Because of how 12-step recovery is built, it gives the individual getting sober the opportunity to have that foundation and to move forward based on that simple understanding. One of the things that's important for family members to understand is that recovery is a long process, and it requires a lot of patience for those who do love the person who's trying to get sober. There are lots of peaks and valleys. What we're interested in over the long haul is whether or not the bottoms are getting higher. In other words, as someone's making progress through their recovery, what we want is for an individual to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, rather than 1 step forward and 3 steps back. One of the major goals for a young person in recovery is to be able to reestablish and heal relationships with the family. When a young person is able to accomplish this, it provides them with a firm foundation moving forward. In other words, that's going to create a new definition for how to form relationships and how to form a definition of success and happiness for the rest of their lives. As scary as it is for a young person to have a serious drug and alcohol problem, when recovery comes into the picture, it can open a lot of doors. Not only is there a lot of character built as a result of having to deal with a very serious problem, it also removes a lot of the secrecy and dishonesty that can harm relationships. A young person in recovery gets a deeper understanding of why it's so important to have strong, solid relationships both with other people, with family, and a strong relationship with a higher power.